What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F1 22. This time we're at the Monaco Grand Prix. It is the unfortunate but necessary time of every season where I have to take the bullet and probably end up outside of the points, because let's face it, we never get points around here. We're lucky to finish not last. I think I did finish comfortably last in the last race that we did here, so anything better than that would be an improvement. Last time out we had the Spanish Grand Prix. If you haven't watched that video yet, I definitely recommend it. It was a very true classic Formula 1 race in every sense of the word. I didn't have a great qualifying, but I massively made good on it in the race itself, thanks to some good overtakes. I finished 8th after starting 21st, which was pretty nice. And yeah, means we've bagged a couple more points in our fight with Alpine and AlphaTauri around us. This weekend is all about damage limitation, really. If we can maybe pick up a point, that would be like best case scenario, I think. But realistically, it's more about hoping that AlphaTauri and Alpine don't go too well here either, just so they don't gain too many points on us in the fight for what is the emerging fight for P5 in the constructors. I think we've just about lost that rivalry with Alonso. There's no point really even thinking about it any further, so we'll just move on to whatever the next rivalry coming down the pipeline is. We're very, very close to overtaking AlphaTauri in the performance index. I think we can get there fairly soon. Now it's time to get into first practice, and yeah, if we can maximize the amount of resource points we come away from this practice session with, that would be like the ideal scenario. Again, it's all about just moving forward, and this is just sort of a necessary evil on the Formula 1 calendar for us. You know, we've got to do it, and we just have to try and make our way through it and do what we can to minimize the damage, both figuratively and literally speaking.
Let's see our top three again. Robinson, Ricciardo, and Carlos Sainz.
Now this is an encouraging but misleading sign. We went out early in the session, set the fastest time. Yes, that is true. But then it started raining about 20 minutes into the session, and by that point I'd already done all of the lapping I wanted to do. So believe me when I say we were not the fastest car on the grid. We just went out at the right time, which, you know, is something we've done quite a lot, but I don't think we're going to be on pole if that's what you're worried about. I think the acclaim I lost there was due to the Alonso rivalry wrapping up, with him winning it, in no small part due to my 2 DNFs to his 1. I think we've got enough resource points to probably get an upgrade or 2 on the car, and yeah, we just want to try and have a decent qualifying performance. If I can get into Q2, I'll be pretty happy with that, because there's definitely a lot of drivers that we're faster than at this point. I feel like we're consistently faster than both Williams, consistently faster than Tsunoda and Fittipaldi. We usually are competitive with the likes of Schwartzman and Joe in the Alfa Romeos, and the Aston Martins we can compete with on our day as well. Maybe not so much Vettel, but definitely Stroll, and also to an extent the Haas's. You know, those are who we race sort of around and with, I think, most races at the moment. So if we can finish ahead of at least a few of those guys, we could be looking at a pretty solid qualifying performance. Yeah, like I said, just Q2, something like that. That would be the ideal scenario. You saw I fit another weight reduction upgrade there. I was debating on whether I wanted to rush it or not, and in the end I settled for it, because I figured if we can get more straight line speed in Baku, that's going to be super helpful for our chances there. I'm kind of putting everything on Baku at the moment. I really want that race to go well, because we've got so many upgrades on the car compared to where we were last year, especially those prioritizing straight line speed. I feel like it could be a real opportunity. Our first lap didn't go too well, but our second lap went much, much better, and we ended up P6 overall. And that was a really encouraging sign, actually. You know, we went really, really fast on our second flying lap, so I just hope that we can carry that performance into Q2, and maybe we can make it through to Q3. I don't know if there are any shock exits here. Not really. Fittipaldi in last. Stroll and Tsunoda and Schumacher are out. Joe's through. Albon's through. Russell in P15. That's going to be a bit scary for him. He probably needs to up his game if he wants to make it through to Q3. It's not going to be good enough. Obviously, Verstappen, I think, was P12 as well. He's a championship contender, so he's going to want to do better than that in Q2. First flying lap on a used set of tyres. It's a 1:12.4. It's not bad, but it wouldn't be enough to get us through to Q3 for sure. We definitely need to go faster than that. We're slower than Magnussen at the moment. Now here we are coming around to start our final flying lap of Q2. We need a good lap here, and if we don't get one, we could really be in the mud. We're on a fresh set of tyres this time. First corner we went a little bit wide at, I'm sure you probably noticed that, but really we just have to do what we can, hit as many of the apexes as we can, don't hit the walls, brake at the right time. You know, this track is a track of extremely fine margins, right? So everything you do needs to be inch perfect, millisecond perfect. You know, there's no room for error. Like there I went a bit wide as well. I missed the apex of the corner and I definitely lost a tenth or more over where I could have been, and that could be the difference between me getting into Q2 and Q3. Make a bit of a mistake here as well, not too big. I do gain back quite a lot of time. It's there. I think that's not Portier, that's Tabac, isn't it? At the back corner we make a big mistake and we lose a couple of tenths, and then we gain a few more tenths through the swimming pool section, and as we come into Rascasse we're about 5 tenths up roughly. I can't remember the name of the final corner, maybe someone could remind me, but yeah, we're sort of between 5 and 6 tenths worth of improvement, and in the end it is good enough to make us P11. So that mistake where we went too shallow at Tabac corner, that was probably the difference between us getting into Q3 and not getting into Q3. And as you can see, Alonso beats us out by just over 2/100ths of a second. Albon is through to Q3. That's an amazing performance from him. Other than that, no real surprises. Sainz is out. That's going to be devastating for him. We beat Pierre Gasly, who's one of our closest rivals. Ocon and Alonso are both through in the Alpines, so that's a bit problematic. But overall, it was a pretty strong qualifying performance. And it sets us up with a decent chance of getting points in the race if there's a retirement or if someone has a penalty or something like that. We're definitely not out of this as far as points are concerned, as long as we can hold position, which obviously was tricky last season, but this season I think we might have a bit more of a shot of doing it, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Either way, I'd say a pretty solid qualifying performance for us. Disappointing for Enzo that he could only get 22nd, but I'm sure once we invest a bit more into upgrading the personnel facilities, perhaps we can improve his chances in these races as well. For now, obviously, we're just focused on developing the car, but eventually we're going to focus on the I don't know what you call it, like the driver and marketing kind of side of things. Now it's time to get into the race, so I'll hand it over to Crofty.
A proper road race, and in the true meaning of the word. That's how Mr. Monaco, the late great Graham Hill, once described this iconic event. The cars we drive have come a long way in the intervening half-century, but still we race on those same public roads beside the Mediterranean. There's no victory more coveted than that of the Monaco Grand Prix. The astonishing Circuit de Monaco is, for all intents and purposes, virtually unchanged since its inaugural race back in 1929. The faster cars of today ensure the 19 corners past the casino and along the seafront remain as thrilling as ever. A 2.1-mile lap here takes us around an entire country, yet never more than inches from the race-ending barriers. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, just ahead of George Russell, who starts this event from P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Verstappen, Hamilton, Fernando Alonso and Leclerc, Perez, Ocon, Albon and Robinson, Sainz, Gasly, Kevin Magnussen and Joe, Ricciardo, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty, Vettel, Lance Stroll and Robert Schwartzman, Tsunoda, Mick Schumacher, Latifi, Enzo Fittipaldi. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. It's race day yet again, and joining me for a chat is Anthony Davidson. And our racers are certainly in for a rough day today. What will you be watching out for as they head into turn 1?
Well, the start of the race is always one of the most nerve-wracking parts. You have to hope that everyone is able to get off to a clean start, and this is possibly the trickiest part of the entire race. So many drivers in such a small space, and finding your braking point into turn 1 as well. It's a testament to the driver's skill that there aren't more incidents.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
So we've been promoted up one place thanks to Ricciardo's penalty. He'll start P15, so basically voluntarily putting himself outside of the points. Not really sure why he's done that, but we'll see, I guess. We start alongside Alex Albon, then we have Ocon and Perez just ahead. I think we could probably get Albon off the line, to be honest, so we'll see if we can get ahead of him and maybe grab a P9, and yeah, that's going to be the strategy for this race, I think. We've got Sainz just behind us. He could pose a massive threat. If we can put a car between me and him, that would be ideal. Otherwise, we're pretty much guaranteed to be out of the points, I think. Pretty good parking. I'm happy with the angle that we're at as well, so I think we could have a really good shot at having a good start here. We're just waiting for the rest of the grid to form up, with Fittipaldi packing in at the back alongside Latifi, and I think that's Schumacher and Tsunoda. And here we go. Right, so the lights come on and the lights go out, and it's a pretty good start. Definitely faster than Albon. We react way quicker, but he's a bit faster through the second phase. We definitely tag Ocon slightly, but we then try and go around the outside of him. That would have been a bit brutal. We do make it past Albon off the start. I think Sainz lost a place to Gasly, so this is really good for us. He's already 2 positions behind us, and we're up into P9 and on course for 2 points. We got Ocon making a move on Perez there, and he just about makes it through by the looks of things. So that's Perez now down into P8. And that's going to be rough, because I think he's actually in the lead of the championship at the moment, or he's very close either way. I think it's maybe Verstappen, not sure. But it's definitely the 2 Red Bulls leading at the moment, because they've both had pretty strong seasons. And it's Norris leading the race at the moment. He's in 3rd in the championship after his win in Miami. And yeah, we have pretty good position on track, all things considered, I would say right now. You know, we got 2 cars which I would consider to be slower behind us. We've got cars that are faster ahead of us, so I think probably what is the most likely thing that is about to happen here is that we are going to settle into a rhythm and hopefully sort of fall into a little pocket all by ourselves. They call it a lonely Sunday, and I think that might be what we're on for. Here we are now, lap 4, and you see I've actually kept pretty good distance to Perez and Ocon ahead, just within the sort of DRS range of them, maybe just outside, but then I run a little bit wide at the final corner, and not only does that cause me to lose a lot of time to the cars in front, but it also causes Albon to close back up to us. But he's pulled away. Oh, he's fallen back a little bit by the time we make it to lap 9, and we are now sort of falling into that pocket that I expected we would be. Perez is pulling away a little bit, Albon is falling back a little bit. You know, they're both out of DRS range in each direction, so yeah, we're kind of just maintaining a gap between the 2 of them. I think Albon overall slightly slower than us maybe, and Perez slightly faster. But, you know, we're not out of the woods yet. There's a lot of things that could still happen. I could still very easily make a mistake. There could very easily be a safety car. They always happen. And then we've got a whole range of other things to consider. So there's definitely a lot to be said for what could happen in this race yet. But, yeah, things are looking promising right now for these points. I don't want to jinx it, obviously, but yeah, that would be really amazing if we could do that, because as I said before, Monaco, I think definitely either my weakest or in my like top 3 weakest tracks in this game. I don't really know what else I would put in that list. Maybe like Japan is another one that I really struggle with. Zandvoort I don't find particularly easy, but you know, if we can master this, there's no reason why we can't master those ones as well. Here we are now on lap 13, coming to the end. I think we're not too far away from the pit window now. I'm not sure where it is. It's lap 17. As we come to the swimming pool section, and we gained some minor underbody damage there. You might remember back to my my Monaco video from the previous season, and we were running around with an absolutely destroyed car from how much I was riding the curbs. It hadn't been too bad up until this point, but now we've gained a bit of underbody damage. We need to just be careful not to gain too much of that, otherwise it might invite Albon back into the fight, and we don't want that. You know, we want to maintain this position, especially because Williams is a team we're going to be battling in the constructors most likely. Although we might be too far ahead already, because they typically, if they sneak into the points, it's in the minor positions, whereas if we get into the points, it's in definitely in the more sort of I don't know. I mean, P5 is our usual points finish in my experience. Gain a bit more damage there, which isn't great, you know, a couple laps after I'd already gained some. I think this is definitely allowing Albon back into the fight now. You see he's sort of getting within my DRS range, and if he can maintain that gap, then he could be a real threat. We are pitting in a couple of laps time. I think it's lap 17 is when our pit lap is going to be, but we definitely don't want to have too many more of those, because that could be devastating for our race if we have too many of those. So now we're pitting on lap 17, and you see Albon coming in directly behind us and Gasly coming in directly behind him. So that's my nearest rivals all pitting as well. I think Sainz is staying out, but I think yeah, he will have to pit at some point, so it's gonna remain to be seen where we shake out here. I think Albon actually got held for a little bit there by the looks of things. I'm not sure if his garage was in front of another one, that it meant that he yeah, was held while like one of the Hasses or one of the Alfa Romeos was coming in. It's not clear what happened there, but yeah, that means that he's now sort of 4.5 seconds down on us, and once again kind of nowhere near. We're closing up quite quickly to the back of our teammate Fittipaldi. Hopefully he'll be pitting this lap, because it'll be the lap after we do, and we won't get held up by him for too long. I don't want to fall back into the clutches of Gasly. And now you see that he has pitted, and we've shaken out once again in P9. Perez a long way ahead of us, Gasly quite a decent chunk behind us as well. We're actually, all things considered, pretty good pace with this floor damage. We're definitely maintaining the gap. It's not been affecting me too much. I definitely feel that the car is a bit weightier through the corners, which you'd think in a track like Monaco would be a big deal, but it's not affecting me anywhere near as much as I expected it would be. And I'm not sure how much of it is floor and how much of it is tyres, because these are hard tyres. And I know that the compounds are usually pretty soft here, but still, hard tyres at Monaco is not the most pleasant experience you can have. I'll say that much. So yeah, what we really want to do is just maintain this gap for as long as we possibly can, and try to, if we can, close up to Perez. I don't think it's going to happen. So as long as we can hold off Gasly and Albon behind and stay within the points, that would be my dream scenario here. Just to get a points finish in Monaco would be amazing. I don't know if I've ever won here in a career mode. I know I've had a couple of podiums when I was in sort of like front-running level teams, but I've definitely, to my knowledge, never had a win here. But we can dream about that when we have a front-running car. We don't need to worry about that for now, I don't think. Here we are now, lap 33. Once again, we round into the final sector and going through the swimming pool section, and we gain even more floor damage. So yeah, that's not ideal. Now we're going to be very slow, and I'm sure that Gasly is going to start catching up to us. So we just need to do what we can to hold on to what we've got. I think one of our engine components is starting to get a bit worn as well. You can see the I think it's the turbocharger with the orange icon down in the bottom right where the MFD is. And you see that in those 5 laps, Gasly's caught us quite significantly by 1.5 seconds. That's about 0.3 per lap. And if he keeps gaining us on this way, we could be under threat on the final lap potentially. So we do need to still put in some pretty strong laps. I'm just doing everything I can to keep him at bay for now. The car feels incredibly heavy with the tyres being as worn as they will be at this point, especially around Monaco. You know, we're looking at getting them into the sort of 50s on the percentage wear, but that's just how the cookie crumbles at Monaco, unfortunately. This is one of those tracks that you absolutely need the tyre wear upgrades if you want to survive at a track like this. And you can even throw some more experimental strategies into the mix if you do something like that. But we do not have that luxury at the moment. Just need to roll with the strategy that we've been awarded, which is the one that most people go on, which is medium hard, and run with that for as long as we can. Coming to the end of lap 38 now, and you see that we've just about maintained the gap to Gasly, but we do run wide at that final corner again. That corner was messing me up this whole race, and you see that he's gained significantly on me throughout this straight. The car is so draggy right now. It's so hard to drive. I was really struggling, and I was also starting to get a little bit nervous. I tapped the wall there briefly, you see, and I'm checking my tyres, checking my front wing status, all that kind of thing. You know, in a car like this, to get points at Monaco is no big deal. Or, no, it's not no big deal. It is a big deal. It's no small feat, is what I was maybe trying to say there. So, I definitely wanted to do everything I could to maintain the position I could. Lando Norris crosses the line significantly up the road. He basically led out of turn 1 and never looked back after that point. Meanwhile, we go deep as we go into the Nouvelle chicane, and Gasly's now definitely within a second of us. We're out of conventional overtaking spots, but the line doesn't come up that quickly, so if he can close up to us enough, there is a realistic possibility he could get us on the line. We just need to do everything we can to have a clean rest of the race. There was a pretty good exit from the final corner. We're burning battery to the line. I think we're just about going to hold on for a P9 finish. And that was a fantastic race. Basically nothing happened all race. You know, I was in P9 after the first corner, and I was in P9 at the end of the race. So I can't be too unhappy with that though, because I did say that if I could get points, that would be the best case scenario, and that's exactly what happened.
We're on the edge of our seats the whole time, but they've come through to take a stunning victory. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
Our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations, and it's going to be McLaren picking up the winner's trophy. Congratulations to the entire team for that fantastic performance.
So, pretty good performance from Norris, all things considered. I think he is definitely emerging as a championship contender, especially after getting the fastest lap as well. That's 26 points, which if it doesn't put him in the lead of the championship, it's got to put him close. Verstappen getting a P3 will be good as well. Perez will be gutted to get that P8. I think that's going to really cost him in the championship. We'll have a look at exactly what happened here.
Max Verstappen should be pleased with his performance, making gains at the top of the table. Some amazing talent out on the track today. But Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
Guan Yu Zhou gets my vote today.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. And pulling further ahead in the standings, it's Red Bull. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
So yeah, Perez was what, like 4 points off the lead of the championship before this race? And now he's moved into being 15 points off the lead of the championship, or maybe even more than that. No, I think it is 15, because I think Max Verstappen outscored him by 11 points. And Norris has overtaken him in the championship as well. So, as I predicted, Norris is emerging as a championship candidate. We are, you know, silently sort of holding on to around sort of P6, P7. I'm not really sure how we're managing it, but we're definitely competing with the Mercedes, with Ricciardo, with the Alpines. You know, I was saying in the last race, I think it was, you know, if we can be in the top 10, that'd be great. And right now, we're looking like we might even be doing better than that. This was a slightly, you could even consider it uncharacteristically poor race for us, in the sense that usually they go a little bit better. It was a very lonely race, but I'm not going to complain. Like I said, As long as we bag the points in a race like this, it's very much damage limitation. We got tracks that suit us better. Miami was definitely one of them. Jeddah was one of them. It's lots of tracks with sort of long straights and high-speed corners. Baku has one of those things. It doesn't have very many high-speed corners, but it does have a lot of long straights. So maybe we'll go well there. I'm not quite sure. Canada has some long straights, has a few high-speed corners, but generally, again, they're quite low-speed corners, so we'll have to see. After that, I think it's Austria, which I see no reason why we wouldn't do well at. Silverstone always goes well. Then we got, I think, Hungary after that, which honestly might not go too well because it's sort of a Monaco-esque circuit without the walls, but you never know. And then we got the mid-season break, but you know we got a good run of races coming into the mid-season break if I am to be understanding the strengths of our car correctly. You know, we could be looking at a good haul of points as we come into the mid-season break. We're already on sort of, what is it, like I think about 40, 45, something like that. I'm not exactly sure what the total is, but it's definitely in the 40s, especially after that podium finish. You know, we're having a really strong season, much stronger than I anticipated when I set our goal to be 25 points across the whole season. And yeah, that race was just another evidence of our rise through the rankings in Formula 1 at the moment. Enzo Fittipaldi was unlucky to finish 22nd there. He didn't have a fantastic weekend, but hopefully he can improve as we make our way forward throughout the season, and as our car improves. At least he brings home the bacon, which is more than can be said for me. I keep trashing the car with the floor and whatnot. But yeah, pretty good race overall. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.